Good evening, everybody. My name is Ingrid van der Merwe and I'm the Head of Careers Advisory at the Careers Service. I welcome to this talk. The way we are running this is that colleagues of mine are on duty in the chat column, so I will not be able to see your questions, but we really encourage you to post your questions in the chat while I am doing this presentation. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. We're going to be talking about this topic, and this is what we're going to cover. I'm going to introduce you to the Careers Advisory team, talk a little bit about your journey ahead, what the Careers Service offers you when you come to UCT, a little bit about what is important now. We've been dealing with first years and prospective students for many years, so we have quite a good idea of the common questions that are asked by first years, and particularly you at the stage that you're at. So that's what we're going to cover, and I've left a lot of time for questions, so I'm really hoping that you will have a lot of questions as we go along. As I say, you're welcome to post them as we go along, and I'll deal with all the questions at the end. Okay, so here you got a brief glimpse of me. So I'm Ingrid van der Merwe, the head of the advisory team. There are many teams in the Careers Service, but this is the team that deals with students. So Megan and Azola are the career development advisors, and they do the majority of this student work. And then Jean Alfelt is the careers advisor for students who are funded by the MasterCard Foundation. So we really hope that next year we see you in person. And if we don't see you in person, we'll most definitely, we hope to meet you virtually as well. We've been giving virtual consultations and webinars in this very challenging COVID year, and we may still be doing that next year, but these are the staff that you will be dealing with. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what our mission is, we really are there to support you as students and to help facilitate your success. So we aim to help you to realize your potential, and so that you can contribute meaningfully to society while at UCT and even after graduation. So these are some of the stages of the journey that is ahead of you. It's a very exciting journey, and you're sort of in the blue stage at the moment as future students. And we have interventions and workshops and resources for every stage. So right from first year through to final year, whether that final year is final year of undergraduate or the subsequent many postgraduate years that come after that. So let's look a little bit at how we do this. So we do this in lots of ways, and as you'll be able to see, we are a very busy office. So the first thing is that the staff that you just saw offer one-to-one consultations, and we deal with everything from brainstorming and discussing your options to help you apply for bursaries, internships, part-time jobs and graduate jobs. We also offer consultations for students who may not be happy for their choices. Consultations can also include CV reviews, interview preparation, help with the job search, or helping students to find ways to further develop the skills that they need to develop. And we do this as well through the workshops and curriculum programs that we run. We are actually in the curriculum in 2 faculties, and we're aiming to be part of the curriculum for more faculties in years to come. The Career Conversation series is a really great one that we've been having a lot of recently. They've all been virtual panel discussions where we featured graduates with specific degree backgrounds who share their career journeys and talk about how they got into the work that they are currently doing. And students really enjoy and learn a lot from these discussions because and get to ask questions and get tips from graduates who are now working. And we usually theme these. So ones that we've had recently is we had my career in the energy sector, and we had 3 cross-disciplinary people who are all working in energy. And coming up this October, we are featuring careers working with water. And we are having a geologist and civil engineer and someone who has an ecology background, all talking about different jobs with water as the theme. We're also going to have a career conversation about careers in social justice, and one in my career in the medical sciences, where we're going to feature people with genetics and biochemistry backgrounds. So we do these throughout the year, and they're very popular with the students, and students learn a lot and get very inspired and get to know what some of their options are. Entrepreneurship and the gig economy is very much on our radar, and we are supporting in entrepreneurs. Supporting them is a very developing part of our work and something that we are growing all the time. We also host entrepreneurship competitions and events that help people. There are various events that are national, where students pitch their business ideas, and it's a competition where they actually can win money, and we're involved in that. We have a number of expos. So before COVID, we used to have these in the sports centre and in Sarah Bartman Hall, but this year all of our expos have been online or virtual, and they feature companies who want to recruit graduates, and feature many different sectors, including law, accounting, information technology, retail, consulting, just to name a few. And that is always quite a big aspect of our work. This week, we're actually running what we call the mock interview program. So we had 171 student applications, and our colleagues in the employer relations team set the students up with practice interviews. So students have a practice interview, and then their real employer gives them feedback about how they've done, to help them to improve their interview skills for the real thing. And that's something we do. We were meant to do it in April, and because of the lockdown, we haven't just run it, and we're actually running it this week. Then a great offering that we have is a website that's exclusively for UCT students. I'm going to give you our general website, and you might see there's a little sort of icon for My Career, and you can only log into that if you're a registered UCT student. And it has a lot of features. So on My Career, you can book appointments with careers advisors. You can book in for events. So, for example, the career conversations, you can book in for them and see what sort of job posts are on offer. There are many people who advertise jobs on this website, and you can also access our resources. And we have many resources. So things from every year, we have a career service guide with a lot of articles in it. We collect examples of graduates and what they've done in our grad gallery website, and lots of tips sheets, and we even have a CV mini series where we made a narrated PowerPoint to help students with various aspects of making a CV or improving their CV, and that's actually can be seen on our website. It's not necessarily only on My Career. So as you can see, we're a very busy office with a lot to offer. And I must also mention that we are the biggest office of any university in South Africa, and we're the only one that offers both careers advisory and graduate recruitment services in the same office. We're an award-winning office and have been voted the best careers service in the country for 10 years by graduate employers. So we're quite proud of that as well. So this is an example of our semester events. Some of these dates didn't actually happen, so a lot of our expos were moved into later in the year. So law, for example, only happened in June. And as you can see, we have faculty-specific career conversations. We have a little bit for international students and a lot for postgraduates as well. So we try to focus on every student and their needs. And there's my colleague Azola in the BT building. This is when we ran a humanities CV lab, and we're going to be doing these virtually. In the past, we used to have faculty-specific CV labs and sort of be en masse in a foyer of a particular building where a lot of, say, humanities students frequent, and then we would have a first-come, first-serve CV lab. So we're still doing quite a lot of that virtually. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is look a little bit at the sort of things that we know that you often are bothered by as prospective students. So I've chosen 4 questions, and these are questions that we get asked often. So the first one is, what if I don't like the career I've chosen? The second, what are my career options for this degree? Lots of students ask that. Can I change to another good degree if I don't like what I register for? And finally, how do I choose my subjects? So I'm going to do the first 2 first. So what if I don't like the career I've chosen, and what are my career options for this degree, because they're very similar. So very importantly, a degree is not the same as a career, and that's really important for you to remember at this stage. Many people think that, and it may seem sort of sensible, like for example, if you choose engineering, you'll become an engineer, and if you choose law, you'll become a lawyer, and so on. But those obvious outcomes are just one of the careers associated with those degrees, for example. So career options are not limited by your degree choice. Now, we really encourage students to try and understand that careers are constructed, and it's with this career construction that we really are there to help students. So if you're worried that you need to choose a career at the stage that you're at, we really want to help you to not be worried about that. So your employability involves much more than just getting a degree. All careers require skills which are developed in many parts of life. So these may be developed in activities that are outside your studies. These skills are then transferred to whatever work you do. And this definitely increases your career options. In fact, many employers that visit UCT actually do not ask for specific degrees. And often when they're looking for students or graduates, they list skills like leadership, working in a team, dealing with cultural diversity, being able to be adaptable. So the one good thing about COVID is that being resilient, flexible and adaptable are skills that you all would have developed this year. So that's just a really important thing to remember, that that your options are much broader than you might think and are not limited by your degree choice. So this is an example of it sort of represents your employability. We show this pie graph to many students when we see them, to show them that you can develop skills in any part of your life. So all of you will, if you study at UCT or any other institution, there are specific skills that are inherent in your degree. There's some of the skills are generic to all degrees, and some are very specific to the certain degrees that they belong to. So when students consult with us, and in all our career education workshops and talks, we help students to make sense of this and to understand how skills can be developed. The career management part is very much what we specialize in. So career management would include things like being able to write a cover letter, writing a CV, writing a targeted job application, performing in interviews, doing your career research. So that's really, if you use us, you will round off your employability beautifully if you're also gaining work experience and being involved in university life. The most amazing thing is that many student societies and various groups have actually been quite active during this year of lockdown and have found alternative ways to meet and be active. So UCT's sort of society life has not shut down completely in this year. Okay, so I'm going to now deal with the second two questions. Just to remind you what they are. Can I change to another degree if I don't like the one I'm registered for? And how do I choose my subjects? So for both of these, it's important to know what you are choosing. And this is something we see a lot with students that come to UCT in their first few weeks, that quite often they've chosen something, or they've liked the sound of a particular degree, but they actually don't know the subjects that are involved that they will be taking as part of that degree. So if you're studying physiotherapy or social work, it's really important to know what will your first year subjects do. It's also important to know that some faculties have set curriculums where you don't actually choose. It's a set sort of offering of courses, and you have to take them all. So this is typical of engineering, commerce and health sciences. And some involve wide choices, like the humanities faculty, and to a lesser extent science. Science has a lot of common subjects and prerequisites for certain majors. So I really want to encourage you to attend the faculty sessions so that you can find out what exactly it would be, or what the subjects are that you would attend, or make connections with people in those faculties so that you can find that out. And that way you will have no nasty surprises when you start. So students who are unhappy with what they've registered with are quite often students who haven't done their homework and haven't really researched what their degree is about. So being able to change degrees is usually possible within a faculty, but it's not so easy between faculties as at the start of your year. So there is sometimes this feeling that, you know, oh, it's fine if you're not happy with one thing, you can just chop and change. It isn't as simple as that. And it is just, I just want to sort of caution people to be careful of that mentality. In terms of choosing streams or majors or subjects, this is covered very thoroughly in orientation. And orientation is always placed before you actually register. So a lot of the questions that you have are usually answered in orientation very thoroughly, and there are lots of people on hand that will help you to do that. So one of the questions we get from students just after their matric results come out, they quite often contact us and say, how do I choose subjects? And quite a lot of that is covered within orientation. But just to let you know that if you do register and you're unhappy with something and a change is possible, you have a week after lectures begin to change different courses and change into something else. Just a brief word about second choices. Just make sure that the second choice that you have, that you're clear about what it involves. It's also very common that students get accepted to UCT for their second choice, and they've even forgotten that they put that as a second choice. So that's really important, just to make sure that your second choice is viable, because that actually in many cases may be what you get accepted for. Also be careful in things like, lots of people think that if they don't get into medicine, it's okay, they'll do a first year of science and then they'll try again and get in. So just a cautionary word, the numbers of applications to health sciences are vast, and the standard is incredibly high. So it's not automatic that you do a science degree and then just reapply. You're not necessarily guaranteed to get back into health sciences. It's quite a difficult thing and doesn't happen very often. Right, we're nearly at the end, and then I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping you have some questions. I'm very geared for your questions. So let's first, just as a concluding slide, just a few things to encourage you and just to make sure that you're on the right track. So one thing I must mention is that you are able to change the, if you do email the faculty or the admissions office, you can change your first and second choice, or if it's the second choice that you realize is you're not that interested in, you can do that in writing. And I just encourage you to speak to the admissions office if that is your situation. So I want to encourage you to choose a degree that involves subjects that you're interested in. I really want to just go to the second last point and say you're not choosing a career and something that you're going to be stuck on forever. There's just so much that's going to happen to you, so much that will influence the sorts of options that you have. And in this fast changing technological world, there are likely to be options that you're not even aware of now or that don't even exist now. So just concentrate on choosing your degree. Don't get distracted by worrying about choosing your career. Find out what your first year courses entail. We know it's been a really hard year, but do as well as you can in your finals. And then one thing you can do is to follow us on social media. So if you want to get a sense of what the UCT Career Service does and the sorts of things we offer, I want to encourage you to, our Instagram account is very active, and we'd love you to follow us and to get a taste of what we do. And then also visit our website. You will not be able to see the My Career website at this stage. That is only for registered students, but our website has a whole wealth of information that might be very interesting to you, and our career service guides and many videos, and we have a YouTube channel. All of that is on our website. And then to finish off, that's what our building looks like. You can see the arrow into the career service. We miss it a lot. We haven't been there since March, but hopefully we will all see each other face to face at some stage next year. And when you're on campus, we're right at the top of Upper Campus in the Huri Kwacha building. Right, that's the end of my presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I see some of the questions are quite specific. I'm quite happy to answer specific questions. So, okay, so there's a very common question. This is a very good question because it's often asked. Mohammed asks, I would like to take up a BCom Law or BCom LLB 5-year program. Which faculty do I initially select if I'm offered a place in both law and commerce? Also, will I end up with 2 degrees and will NSFAS cover the 5-year program? From Mohammed. Okay, firstly, Mohammed, I'm not sure about NSFAS. You would have to ask the financial aid people about NSFAS. I would imagine they'd cover that, but the financial aid office would be better to ask about that. Apologies for my dog barking if you can hear the dog in the background. Sorry, my husband's also in a meeting. Okay, so just a little quick sort of explanation about law. There are actually 3 routes to law, and the 4-year law course is actually not that recommended by the law sector. Many of them say that it's quite narrow, and people that then enter into the law profession are quite young. So that is when you would start doing law straight away in your first year in the law faculty. But the other 2 options are very accessible to anyone. So the 5-year program you talk about, Mohammed, you would then be registered in commerce. And in either commerce and humanity, the 5-year program, you start with a general BCom or a BA, and you only start doing law subjects in your 2nd year. And then you actually will only need to do 2 years of an LLB, which is the postgraduate law degree. But you can also do any degree and, with no law subjects at all, and do your LLB after that. We've had students who've done environmental and geographical science and then done an LLB. So that's also, if you're undecided, you are not sort of pushing law to one side if you don't do it in your undergraduate degree. Okay, you please just post another question if you want clarification. Okay, so the next person said, if I do a BCom degree, will I be able to change to business science at the end of the 3 years if I want to? The BCom and the business science first year courses are very similar, and the changes between them would very much depend on the stream that you're in. And the commerce faculty is very strong on saying that it's not a case of business science being better than BCom. They're much of a muchness, and I would encourage you to attend the commerce presentation because they will cover that in full, and it would be best if you ask that question to the commerce faculty. Any more questions? Please. Okay, right. So there's another question. If I want to go the CA route, which is better, BCom of financial accounting or BBus science finance with accounting? So that's also from Mohammed, possibly the same Mohammed, we're not sure. So they're pretty much of a matchness. So the business science route would give you additional management courses, where the BCom would not. But basically 3 years BCom and the CA year and the 4-year business science are pretty much of a matchness. And I would encourage you also to pose that to the faculty, the commerce faculty, to see what they say about that. Okay, Nosipiwo would like to know if this virtual day is open for all applicants or for those accepted already. Nosipiwo, it's for all those that have been accepted already. So it's a relatively closed event, and it was sort of offered to those who have got early acceptance to make sure that you are well informed. I mean, all applicants would mean thousands and thousands of people, which is probably the reason why they have limited it. Any more questions? I'm living in Botswana and cannot access the NSFAS site. How can UCT help me with this? I think, Mohammed, anything to do with financial aid, a good question will be to ask the financial aid office, because they have these sorts of questions all the time, and we refer all financial aids to them. So look on the program, and I know that these talks are being repeated, and there is a financial aid talk again on Thursday, because I think that one of them was at the same time as this talk. Right, can I get vacation work if I'm under 18? Definitely you can. Part-time work is available, and remember that any part-time work is good experience for you. But I think the age for work is 16, so under 18 is not a problem to get vacation work. Okay, another law question. You may have missed my explanation earlier, but there are 3 routes into law. You can either do a law course that starts in the law faculty, that's 4 years, but then you do nothing else but law. Or you can do either a BA or a BCom. So a BA would be any subjects like history, English, sociology, psychology. There's a huge range of subjects for the humanities. And then at the end of your first year, you can apply to start doing law courses and then finish off your law degree. When you've done your 3 years of an undergraduate, you would then do 2 years of postgraduate law, and you can do that in commerce as well. Or you can do a broad degree and finish it and then do a postgraduate law degree. Just a reminder, everyone, that postgraduate means after your first degree. Okay, so does the Career Service assist law students in completing their articles? Yes, we do. We have many law firms that we actually had a law expo earlier this year, and law firms approach us and advertise for articles, and we help students with applications for law articles. Right, we have a nice long one, and my colleagues Megan and Alea are cutting and pasting into WhatsApp, so they're working really hard, and I've got the easy part. Okay, so this person has, this is from Tanya. Nice to hear from you, Tanya. I have a daughter called Tanya who will also be in first year next year. Tanya has applied for mechatronic engineering, but was accepted for my second choice, which is chemical engineering. And I'd like to ask if it's possible to change my second choice to something else, even though I've been accepted in it instead of my first choice. Tanya, I would advise that you contact the engineering faculty and you discuss that the options with them, and they'll be able to advise you. Just remember that when you apply, the admissions office deals with applications, but once you indicate what you're applying for, it then goes to the faculty, and the faculty then make those decisions and will be able to help you about your choices. So I think before changing anything, definitely contact the engineering faculty or go to the faculty talk. The engineering, I think, are having a number of talks after this one. Am I right, Clint? Okay, so there are quite a few being repeated on Thursday. And if you do miss them, I think just email the admissions office and we can, they will be able to put you in touch with the faculty. Okay, what falls under social sciences? Okay, that's a great question. So remember the faculty is a little bit like a house. So in the engineering house, you get mechanical and chemical and civil engineering and a whole lot of others. In the science house, you'll get physics and chemistry and life sciences and maths. And in the humanities house, you get a whole lot of subjects, and many of them are called the social sciences. So within humanities, social sciences are things like social anthropology, sociology, political studies. And together with them, there are the arts subjects, which are the languages, things like history, media studies. There are actually about 26 different majors that you can do in the humanities. So social science, many students actually have a combination of social science subjects and arts subjects. And it just depends on which they have more of, whether they get a social science degree or they get a Bachelor of Arts. So that sort of subject choice is something that you will be thoroughly covered in orientation, so I hope that's answered your question. Okay, now the questions are pouring in. Okay, sorry, they come in a lot. Okay, Amina, after business science, finance with accounting, do I have to do a PGDA to be applicable to write the etc. test? Okay, those very specific accounting questions, it's best that you ask the accounting faculty. But the PGDA usually yeah, speak under correction about that one. I think it is better if you ask the faculty. Julian, if I get accepted in my second choice but not my first choice, is it possible to still get transferred into my first choice? It depends on what your first choice is. So what might have happened to some of you, quite often science is very proactive about offering students, because quite often the science faculty loses good candidates to engineering, health sciences and commerce. And sometimes students don't know what is offered in science. But I think that even if it's not your first choice, that offering, the sort of accepting and rejecting of offers is something that you could accept that offer, but things might change when the matric results come out. And then we would be available to advise you and put you in touch with the right people. But that's probably why you've got accepted for a second choice, or it could be that the second choice, the requirements were not as high as your first choice. Serena asks, what's the latest date to change degrees within the science faculty once our degree has started? Okay, so it all depends on, so in your first year, if you want to change a particular course, in the first semester you have a week. So the lectures start, and at the end of that week you would have to indicate that you've changed, or you would have to fill in paperwork to change. But to change degrees within the science faculty, that really would depend on what you are studying, because many of the science majors have common subjects. So it might be that you change majors, but some of your subjects would stay the same. It would very much depend on what you are studying. So, okay, okay, we've got that one. Is it possible to major in 2 different degrees? Not really, but when you say major in, remember a major is like a specialist subject. So it is possible to major in subjects that are in different faculties. So I'm not sure if that's what you mean. So for example, environmental and geographical science lives in the science house, but you can actually do that as a major in humanities. So there are a number of subjects like that they might be a science subject or a commerce subject, but you can actually do them as a major in a faculty that they don't belong in. Oh, now the questions are really pouring in. For BCom LLB, would I attain 1 or 2 degrees after 5 years? You would actually attain 2. You'd have an undergraduate BCom and a postgraduate LLB. So the first year of the LLB is filtered into your undergraduate BCom, and then you'll have 2 years of the postgraduate LLB to do. How do you know if you've been conditionally accepted for medicine? They would have told you. You usually get an email to tell you whether you have conditional acceptance. Okay, so this is from a Zimbabwean student. Been accepted into the Faculty of Science to study computer studies and business computing. Okay, I think that the anonymous from Zimbabwe, if you've been accepted, you must have met the requirements. So I think, and you must remember as well that A-level physics is at a higher level as matric physics. So, and remember that mathematics is actually the biggest requirement for computer science. So I don't think you would have a problem. And if you were not going to meet the requirements, they wouldn't have accepted you. Okay, so there's someone here who's been accepted for BA Law, but provisionally accepted for a BA and an LLB separately. So if you've been accepted for an LLB, that means you go straight into the law faculty, and for 4 years, all you do is law. If you've been accepted for a BA, that gives you a little bit more room to move, and you can do subjects of your choice and add law on later. So if you actually, if you want to do law in your first year, it's the 4-year LLB that you should accept. But just remember that doing it the other way around would also give you a lot more sort of academic breadth. Okay, someone says, if I get accepted in my second choice but not my first choice, is it possible to still get transferred into my first choice? A lot can happen between now and the final exam. So So sometimes one just has to wait to see how it pans out with the final results. So it's very unlikely. If you haven't been accepted to your first choice, you may still be accepted when the matric results come out. There's a lot of movement in that time after the results come out. What degrees are recommended for software developer or engineering? There are a number of degrees, and many engineering students actually do go into software development, but the computer science degree or the information systems degree, but usually software development is a computer science degree based in science. Okay, the ITC test, I'm not sure about that, and I think it would be best to ask the person who's asked about the finance and accounting and the PGDA. Please could you ask the Commerce faculty about that? In fact, I think it's on the Commerce faculty website under accounting. Okay, so if someone is accepted to BA Law, do they go into the law faculty orientation or the humanities orientation? If you've been accepted for a BA, you go into the humanities orientation. You can't really attend both because they happen at the same time. And the LLB 4-year would be a different orientation to the humanities orientation. Okay, I'm a second-year mechanical engineering student at another university. I have applied to MBCHB. Okay, so this person is second-year mechanical engineering student. This is quite an involved question. So you're asking about whether you should complete your engineering degree and then before trying to get into med school. That is very much up to you, but just bear in mind that medicines is quite a long haul, so it might be good to just see if you're accepted and make the decision then. There's also just an indication that you may not know that WITS, for example, does a graduate medical degree with an undergraduate BSc, so that's maybe something you could look into, which might save time. Okay, so how does registration work? Is this where we choose our major and elective? Absolutely. Remember that orientation comes before registration. So orientation is all about how to use our online learning system, how to, if it is face-to-face, it will be library tours and campus tours and getting to know other people. And you'll get a lot of information about majors and electives. And registration is actually when you go and sign on the dotted line and you say, this is what I want to do. Okay, so registration takes place after orientation, but an orientation is really important to attend. By when do I need to choose a discipline area for my BCom degree? Usually when you register, but the Commerce faculty has been very good about making a lot of the first year courses common. So many students move from stream to stream at the end of their first year, and that's made possible because the first year courses are very similar. So you will get a lot of advice about that. And those are the questions closed. So thank you, everybody. After the initial lack of questions, we certainly got plenty. So it's been great to chat to you, and all the best for your matric exams if you're still writing matric. Strength to you all, and we really hope to see you at UCT. And just remember, if you come to UCT, you're coming to the university with the best career service in the country, and we're really looking forward to meeting you. Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of the orientation.